Vexie and the Geargrinders burst into the scene as the first boss of the Liberation of Undermine raid in World of Warcraft: The War Within. This is a two-phase boss fight involving a dismantling phase where you tear down this giant war machine, and a burn phase where you do as much damage as you possibly can. The burn phase will be extended in duration depending on how well you perform during this phase. Each burn phase happens in 2-minute intervals, and you're going to want to make sure you hold your lust for the first one of these to be able to get as much damage out as possible. The fight starts with the Geargrinder machine in the center. Pick this thing up and point it away from the group. The tank buster effect is going to knock the tank back, and on heroic and higher difficulties, drop a pool of oil on the ground that you're going to want to get out of. The oil is kind of hard to see, and you're going to want to be stacking this in the same location as often as possible, limiting how much of the room is covered in oil. Taunt swap after each one. She's going to put purple circles on players that makes them spew oil out around them after a delay. These players should try and get to the same general location that we're dropping the oil so we can limit our oil pools. The oil does not do a fatal amount of damage, but it is significant, so if you end up double stacking oil, you're going to want to use a defensive. There's a constant soft-in rage of exhaust fumes that are going to be a debuff going out on the entire party. Every time this debuff goes out, it hits a little bit harder, so you're eventually going to get overwhelmed by this. Red circles will regularly appear around the arena, and you're going to want to just avoid these. Periodically, she'll mark several players with red arrows on their heads. These players need to run towards oil slicks. They'll be chased by fire circles, and if any of these fire circles detonate within an oil slick, it will remove the oil slick from the field. That's going to be really important in making sure you have still enough room to be able to handle this boss as the boss progresses. Throughout the phase, she's going to be gaining energy, and if she gets to 100 energy, she's going to begin her raid wipe mechanic, Unrelenting Carnage. This is just going to be raid wide damage that you cannot sustain through. In order to stop this from happening, you have to break off the multiple plates that the boss has. Throughout the fight, she's going to call bikers. Red lines are going to appear, and bikers are going to ride down these lines, dealing damage to anybody along their path. At the end of the line, they're going to stop for a delay and pick a new direction. During this time, players can burn them down. Upon taking out a biker, the player can hop onto the bike and shoot it at the boss. Assuming the bike doesn't hit any oil slicks along the way, it'll collide with the boss and remove one of the platings. Once all of the platings have been removed, the intermission phase begins. So phase 1 is about constantly avoiding fire circles and red lines. All DPS should be prioritizing taking out the bikers, and then whenever a bike is taken out, you need to fire it off at the boss, assuming between you and the boss is not currently an oil slick. If it is, you need to either burn off that oil slick or move the boss into a better angle. Once you removed all of the plates, she's going to enter into her pit stop phase. A bunch of pit stop crew are going to rush in and attempt to repair her, and during this time, she's going to take 100% increased damage. Lust and pop all your 2 and 3 minute cooldowns, burning her for as much damage as you can. Throughout this phase though, you're going to want to be constantly killing off the pit crew, interrupting and stunning them. You want to stop as many repair casts as you can to make sure that she doesn't get her plating back as quickly. During the tune-up time, you're dodging fire circles, and there's raid-wide constant pulse of damage that healers are going to have to maintain everybody through. After 45 seconds, reduced by every time a repair cast gets off, she will end this phase and go back to phase 1, and it's just a rinse and repeat going back and forth. This is a really fun and thematic entry boss that I had a really good time playing on all of the different difficulties. If you want to know about the mythic changes, follow our mythic guide right over here. That's it for Vexie and the Geargrinders. I'm Zesty Fresh from Zaza Games, and we'll catch you guys next time.